Hey, all, welcome back. Welcome to tonight's segment. Hope you're all having a great day. Here we are. We are doing a segment. Been a while. I believe since just before the election. But you know what? That's okay. I think we all needed a break from the politics. I know I did. And it's not like I didn't do stuff for the channel. I was doing a lot of live streaming, game playing, Baldur's Gate 3. So I did keep things going. I know it's kind of stuff that maybe most of you probably weren't really interested in. But, like I said, I just needed a break, and plus I was working on some things here. As you can see, my surroundings are a little different, working on the studio just a little bit, and I believe I got the cameras figured out, nice and clean, got the audio going really nice and clean, so I should not be having any issues going forward with any of this stuff. Pretty much got it all dialed in finally. So, tonight, I wanted to do something fun, but I know I needed to do a segment about something. And, well, Star Wars, one of my go-tos. I still love it as much as I dislike all of the Disney Star Wars, except for a few properties that they've produced. Andor, of course. Rogue One, I thought was done really well. And this new series, Skeleton Crew, it's unbelievable. It is by far some of the best Star Wars put out since Andor, the series, and Rogue One. And the reason why I bring this up is honestly, it's a fun show. And being a complete and total Star Wars nerd, um, this last episode really got me thinking about where is this all taking place in the galaxy of Star Wars. Now, just to give you a quick rundown about this show, it takes place about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Also, this show it's geared for kids. It's a kids show. So as long as you go into this show understanding that's what it is, you'll appreciate it even more because there are a lot of member berries, a lot of throwbacks for us, older folks that watch it. When you see it, you're gonna enjoy it. And that's the other thing too. If you have kids and you need something to watch that's fun and honestly wholesome, but yet adventurous and fun, literally watch it with your kids. You'll really enjoy it, especially parents. It's going to be a big throwback for all of you. Honestly, Goonies in space. That's the best way to describe it. Now, a quick rundown of the show. As of right now, we're 4 episodes in. It's a group of kids who find a buried starship. The starship was buried underground. That's been there for a long time. No one knows exactly how long, but it's been there for quite some time. This little boy finds it, meets his other friends. They go back to the ship to try and see what it is because the kid thinks it's a lost Jedi temple. Excuse me. Now, of course, the little boy, he's in a what I guess you would call it a classic Earth suburban neighborhood, but very advanced. And it has a very Star Wars feel to it. It really does. So it basically think of suburbia, I wouldn't even call it small town, but picture just like you're a nice little suburb nearby your own home, but it's so advanced, it's basically Star Wars. But anyway, the kid finds it, his friends find it, and of course, they're kids. They have imagination. So the one boy who finds it thinks it's a lost Jedi temple. He wants to be a Jedi. He plays Jedi with his friends. One's friend's a Sith. He's a Jedi. They even play, lightsabers with like sticks and all kinds of stuff. They're being kids. And it's really refreshing. But anyway, the get inside this ship that they don't know what it is, and they accidentally power it up. And it leaves the planet and shoots off into hyperspace, and they're scared and they get lost. All right. There's a robot a droid that's on the ship that is the second mate to the original captain who's been in stasis for who knows how long. And the kids asking for help to get home. Well, they end up getting into trouble and they meet all these adults. And the adults ask them, "Where are you from? We'll try and help you get home." Well, the kids tell them where they're from. They say, "We are from a planet called Attin." And everyone looks at these kids like, there's no way. This planet doesn't exist. It's a myth. It's a place that exists only in legends or in children's stories. And the kids insist, no, this is where we are from. So come to find out that there are like several planets that belong to this Atten group of planets. And I think there was 9 planets that were considered the jewels of the old republic. Not the new republic where we are in today in current times, or the Empire time, which was the original trilogy, or the High Republic, which would be just prior to the Phantom Menace. They are talking about the Proto Republic. We're talking about Darth Bane or Darth Revan time of like whatever the Republic would be at that time. So we're talking like the old Republic. So we're talking like 1,000 years plus in the past in Star Wars. Now, to them, they want to get home. So they keep bringing up this name of this planet. All the adults are like, this isn't going to happen. No way, no way. So they get in trouble and they finally escape with some help. And they go off to this observatory where Jude Law's character, the one who helps them get away, takes them to try and find a way back home. And it's this owlish kind of wise like lady or owl person. I don't know what you would consider this creature, and she keeps track of old navigation charts, old records. I'm talking like for Star Wars, we're talking about parchment type maps, which is, you think about a society that's so high advanced, everything's on a data pad or flimsy steel or flimsy plastic. Pick your Star Wars, prop. And the only way that she can come up with where these kids are from is she has to ask detailed questions about where are you from? Tell me about your planet. What do you know about you know, your surrounding area on the galaxy map. So the kids start telling her that, oh yeah, we've learned about the Coruscant, we've learned about Alderaan, and she's like, Alderaan, and they're like, yeah, and she's like, oh, you don't know about the war. So these kids come from a place. This at Atten is so isolated from the rest of the galaxy that these kids don't know nothing about what has happened in the last 40 years. They know nothing. So when it comes to their particular society or their particular planet, they're completely cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Now, she's asking him questions about what do you know about the area of where your planet is? They're like, well, it has a swirling cloud atmosphere, and we have this barrier that keeps, everything straight, I guess you would say, keeps everything tidy around their planet. And it's a mechanical barrier. It's like all these millions of satellites that orbit their planet, and it is illegal for them to break that barrier. They can't leave that planet. And the only way that they can communicate outside of that planet, it has to be done through their supervisor, their planet supervisor. Now, one of the kids are giving them the information on their planet, and they notice that, okay, yeah, it sounds like you're someplace in some like nebula, like a nebulous area. So she's working her computers and doing all kinds of putting all kind of data inside of there. And then one of the kids, mentions like, oh my gosh, she already, you know, discarded 99.9% of the planets in the galaxy based on her calculations, which left about 10,000 planets that could fit the description of Adat. So as she's going through things, she notices a symbol on the back of one of the kids' backpacks. She looks at it and it gives her insight on where to look, or what it is, and tells the kids that, oh my gosh, you're part of this place called, it's like the Jewels of the Republic. There were 9 planets, and legend says that all of these planets were destroyed in war or something, were all been destroyed. And all that remains was one planet called Attin, which became a legend and was lost and was hidden from the rest of the galaxy. And no one knows why. So they end up coming up with some sort of like general direction of where this Attin is. And so when it's done, of course, she betrays the kids and and Jude Law because she just didn't trust them. And so Jude Law takes the coordinates and the kids and runs outside of, the observatory and gets back to their ship, and they escape and they go to hyperspace to these coordinates that they get. Now, they land on this planet and they're talking to the ship's first mate, which is this droid who has been, I guess you would say, conveniently programmed to forget things. Now, mind you, what I'm getting into is going to be into some spoilers of the show, but it's not meant to spoil it for you. It's really all meant to get to where I'm going. Now, I want you to see something. Now, according to the Star Wars galaxy map, which I am going to show you, there is a region in space where I believe this planet is. And the reason I say that is because there is a scene in the first episode of this series of the little boy Wim and his father talking. And when they're in the living room, just like in any like your sitcoms or any of your regular, TV shows that you'd watch on TV, when you're in there, you get the panoramic view of like the lifestyle of this particular family. You get a quick view of their home. Well, on one of the walls in this home was a mural, and it looks like this. This is the exact mural that was on this kid's and his father's wall. Now I'm looking at this mural and I'm like, man, this looks really, really familiar. Like, where have I seen this before? And that so my head is just the gears in my head are just going crazy. I'm like, okay, where is it from? And it occurs to me, oh my God, Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. At the end of the animated Rebels series, they put up a picture or they show a mural of the heroes of Lothal, which is the crew of the Ghost. Now, that is this one right here. Now, this one looks almost identical to the art style of the painting that's on the mural in the kid's home. Why is this important? Well, this is why I started off the segment with the quote from Grand Admiral Thrawn at the very beginning. To know a society is to know their art. For him, knowing how to combat them in battle, knowing their tactics, you have to know the society, how they think, their psychology, and most of all, even their artwork. So that is just stuff. This is just stuff that you remember as a Star Wars fan because we watch it so many times and so much. It's all about the small details. And so that little detail, it just pops into my head. And that's one of those things. If I could remember like half the stuff that I should remember, comparing it to memories I have about Star Wars, dumb details like this, I wouldn't be sitting in my, spare bedroom doing a little podcast, showing you guys about what I'm coming up with. I'd be, you know, out by my pool and underneath some, coconut tree sipping on a pina colada or something or a freaking beer. But anyway, so yes, the artwork from the mural on Lothal in the style is in the exact same style as what was found on at. So I'm like, okay. So in the words of Grand Admiral Thrawn, where on the galaxy map is Lothal? So of course, here we go. Lothal. We are on the outer rim, and as you can see, it is right next to another planet, Garel, which really doesn't have anything to do with this right now. But it made me think when I'm looking at Lothal, I'm looking at the entire region of the galactic map. Based on the Thrawn theories, this whole region more than likely are using the same artistic styles. Now, the little owl creature in episode 4 states that it sounds like you are in a nebulous area. Well, it just so happens if you look at the map, I will put an arrow down there somewhere. You can see there is the Archeon Nebula. I'm like, well, what is the Archeon Nebula? Well, I'm going to give you a little insight on the Archeon Nebula. Excuse me while I pull this up. The Archeon Nebula was a nebula in the Lothal sector of the Outer Rim territories. It was a stellar nursery where new stars were being born. Due to this, its gases could be ignited by proton torpedoes. The Archeon Pass, a dangerous smuggling route, traversed the nebula. Now, the other 8 planets that belong to this gem of the old republic were all destroyed by war. And it is very possible that these other 8 planets were not aware of these gases. And when they went to war on those particular planets, they destroyed themselves because of the nebula gases that surrounded these planets. And the reason I say that is because the coordinates that were given to Jod and the kids in episode 4 were to at Archeon. At Archeon could very well be the primary system in the Archeon Nebula. And when they get there, it is a planet ravaged by war, and the air is filled with ash, and the planet is more or less the wasteland, all ruins. And one of the other characters, one of the kids, his name is Neil. He's the little elephant guy. Best way to describe him for you guys. Meets a girl, and he's telling her, "Our planet is peaceful. We don't fight. We don't war. If we do something wrong, we just say we're sorry." So if you have a planet that is aware of war going on amongst, these other 8 jewels of the old republic, seeing what's happening to them, and it just so happens that they're observing this war from a distance, seeing what's happening on those planets based on the nebulous gas that's very, combustible, it's going to affect those planets. It's going to destroy those planets. And before war gets to Attin, they realize if we don't become to peace, our own world will be destroyed as well. And according to Wikipedia, which where I got that information from, all that's going to be down in the bio, by the way. There are hyperlanes that go through that nebula, and it's used by smugglers and pirates, maybe. So yeah, so it's just one of those things that just occurred to me while I'm watching episode 4. I'm like, okay, because even when they're going through the ruins of this planet, Acheon or Archeon, they show an old home that looks exactly like one of the houses that's on at Attin. It looks very familiar. And as they're panning through one of the ruins, they do show another one of those walls. And the art style is the same. So tonight, I'm putting it out there. You might agree, you might not agree. But I am saying now that the at Archeon is the prime system in the Archeon Nebula. And it just so happens the other at planets were destroyed because of the gases in the nebula due to war. All the explosions, some of that gas could have been in the atmosphere, destroying these planets. At Attin, seeing this in the nebula being associated with these other jewels or other gems of the old republic, came to its senses and said, we are going to not get involved in this. We will not go to war. We see the wrongs of what's happening, how they're being destroyed, and cut themselves off from the rest of the jewels. Hid themselves using the barrier, staying hidden in the nebula, using this barrier to keep the nebulous gases away from their atmosphere. It's just a thought. It was just something I came up with in, well, basically watching these last 4 episodes. But that's it. That was my little fun thing for today. And, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys don't think it's right, if you're a fellow Star Wars geek and whatever, let me know down below what you think. And, if you guys feel like it, check out some of my live gaming stuff. All you gotta do is click over onto the live streams, and, they're all gonna be right there. There's only about maybe 4 or 5 of them. Some of them are pretty lengthy and, but they're good. Very action packed. I don't like to waste a lot of time when I'm doing something like that. Try to put you right into the action. And, yeah, um, that's where we're at. So hopefully you enjoyed, this little segment today. Something not political, something fun about Star Wars, some one of those things that I still love, and Disney's really gotta work hard to get me back, but Skeleton Crew's doing really well and trying to win me back, so anyway, give me a like, give me a share, give me a sub, I would appreciate it. Gotta get those sub numbers up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you guys later. I love you, and who knows, we'll do something for Christmas too. Alright, good night.